Dann lasst uns mit Gebet öffnen.
Unser Vater, ich will dir danken für diesen heutigen Tag.
Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you for this day.
Bitte segne nun dieses Studium
Please bless this study hour
und öffne unsere Augen,
and open our eyes
dass wir deine kostbaren Wahrheiten erkennen können.
and help us to understand your beautiful words.
Und bitte gib uns auch jetzt den richtigen Geist
Please give us the right spirit
und hilf uns, uns zu konzentrieren.
and help us to concentrate.
In Jesu Namen.
In Jesus' name, amen.
Okay, so we'll continue with our studies from yesterday.
So wir
Looked at this breastplate of judgment.
Und gestern haben wir diese Brustplatte des Gerichts angeschaut.
We saw it was foursquare and was linked also to the holy city of God.
Und wir haben gesehen, dass es ein Viereck war und es war in Verbindung mit das heilige Stadt Gottes.
Because the holy city was also foursquare.
Denn der heilige Stadt ist auch ein Viereck.
And we saw that in this breastplate of judgment you had these 12 stones.
Und in diese Brustplatte des Gerichts gibt es diese 12 Steine,
We listed those 12 stones.
hier aufgelistet.
And they were parallel to the 12 tribes.
Die waren eine Parallel zu den 12 Stämmen.
And then we also saw that the wall of the holy city had 12 foundations.
Und dann hatten wir gesehen, dass der Mauer der heiligen Stadt hat auch 12 Fundamente.
And they were also 12 stones.
Und die waren auch 12 Steine, die hier aufgelistet sind.
And these 12 stones represented the 12 names of the apostles.
Und diese 12 Steine, die stellten die 12 Namen der Aposteln dar.
Okay, and then we said basically, based upon the quote,
Und dann basierend auf dem Zitat,
that the 12 stones here are the same 12 stones as the foundations of the wall.
dass diese 12 Steine hier sind dasselbe wie die des Fundament des Mauers.
But when we listed those 12 stones of the wall, we could see they're not quite the same as the 12 stones that are in here in the breastplate of judgment.
Aber dann, als wir diese 12 Steine der Mauerfundament aufgelistet haben, wir konnten sehen, dass die nicht dasselbe sind wie die hier von der Brustplatte.
Okay, so basically what we then thought of, okay, maybe it's like this thing which we also could find in Ezekiel, that, where it says, when he saw the cherubim, that they had the same faces as in chapter 1 as in chapter 10.
So, dann haben wir gedacht, vielleicht ist dasselbe, wie wir in das Buch Hesekiel sehen kann, wie in Kapitel 1, also die 4 Gesichter von den lebendigen Wesen und dann die 4 Gesichter der lebendigen Wesen in Kapitel 10.
Because Ezekiel said it was the same faces.
Weil Ezekiel, der sagt, es waren dieselbe Gesichter.
But we could see that basically there was a change between the one face and also the order of the faces.
Aber wir konnten sehen, zwischen Kapitel 1 und Kapitel 10, es gibt eine Veränderung, zum Beispiel der Ochs ist mit einem Cherubim verändert und die Reihenfolge sind auch anders.
Okay, but then the sister got in touch with me and she pointed out to me after the evening worship that in the quote, Sister White actually doesn't say that these 12 stones are the same as these 12 stones.
Also dann eine Schwester nach den Andacht von gestern Abend hat mit mir gesprochen und mir gezeigt in dem Zitat, dass Ellen White sagt gar nichts, dass diese Steine, das sind dasselbe wie die hier.
But that rather the border of the breastplate of judgment was the same as these 12 stones of the city.
Aber vielmehr die Steine um den Rand von den Brustplatte des Gerichts sind dasselbe wie die der Fundament der Stadt ist.
So let us just read this.
So, wir wollen das jetzt lesen.
And I think it's correct what she said.
In den Livestream-Gruppe und ich glaube, das ist richtig, was sie gesagt hat.
So let us just read the second paragraph.
Und wir lesen den zweiten Absatz in den Zitat. Also beginnen mit über dem Ephod.
Okay. And Ramaris, you want to read those parts for us?
Over the
Yes.
Yes.
it says over the ephod was the breastplate, the most sacred of the priestly vestments. This was the same material as the ephod. It was in the form of a square, measuring the span, and was suspended from the shoulders by a cord of blue from golden rings. The border was formed of a variety of precious stones, the same that formed the 12 foundations of the city of God. Within the border were 12 stones set in gold, arranged in rows of 4, and like those in the shoulder pieces, engraved with the names of the tribes.
Okay. Actually, it's already enough.
So, das reicht schon.
So when we read the last two sentences,
Also die letzten zwei Sätze, die wir gelesen haben.
it says, the border was formed of a variety of precious stones. So she speaks about the border, right?
Also sie spricht hier über den Rand.
So the same that formed the 12 foundations of the city of God. Within the border were 12 stones set in gold, arrayed in rows of 4, and like those in the shoulder pieces, engraved with the names of the tribes. So one time she speaks about the border, and then she speaks about within the border.
So einmal spricht sie über das Umrandung und dann das nächste Mal spricht sie von innerhalb des Randes.
So she says basically the border was the same as the 12 stones of the city of God.
So der Umrandung ist dasselbe wie die 12 Steine der Stadt ist.
And then she says within the border there were these other 12 stones.
Und dann sagt sie, innerhalb der Umrandung gibt es diese andere 12 Steine,
And that were the 12 tribes of God.
was diese 12 Stämme Gottes sind.
Okay, so everybody can see this?
Konnte
for
jeder das sehen?
him or herself? Okay, the only problem with that is I have no idea where you can find this in the Bible that it speaks about the border.
Das einzige Problem, die ich damit habe, ist, ich finde nirgendwo in der Bibel, wo es spricht über die Umrandung.
So if anybody knows where it speaks about it, then please send me, because
So, wenn jemand weiß, wo darüber gesprochen wird, dann bitte lass mich es wissen.
okay. So alright. So basically that would then also, or could be an explanation why these stones are different from these stones here.
Und das wäre dann zumindest eine Erklärung, warum diese Steine hier sind anders als die, die hier aufgelistet sind.
Okay. And because these stones are in the border and these stones represent the border.
Weil diese Steine sind innerhalb der Umrandung und diese Steine stellen die Umrandung dar.
Okay. And we also looked at the different tribes.
Wir haben auch die verschiedenen Stämme angeschaut.
And we could see that in the 12 tribes, Levi got replaced and also Joseph got replaced.
Also wir können sehen, dass innerhalb der 12 Stämme, dass Levi und Josef würden ersetzt.
And the two tribes that replaced, or two people that replaced them was Ephraim and Manasseh.
Und die zwei, womit sie ersetzt worden sind, war Ephraim und Manasse.
And unfortunately, I didn't find the time today to look up which one was replacing which one.
Und ich habe heute die Zeit noch nicht gefunden haben, um zu zeigen, welche ersetzte.
And by God's grace, can tell you tomorrow.
Aber mit Gottes Gnade werde ich das morgen herausfinden.
Okay, and lastly, we also looked at the 144,000.
Und zuletzt gestern hatten wir auch die 144.000 angeschaut.
When we just
Kürzlich.
go to Revelation 7,
Also wenn wir zur Offenbarung 7 gehen, Offenbarung 7.
And will you just read verse 4 again?
Und wir lesen Vers 4 ein weiteres Mal.
It says, "And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel." So here we can see that now all the tribes of Israel are sealed.
So hier können wir sehen, dass alle Stämme von Israel versiegelt sind.
And then 12 tribes are listed,
Und die 12 Stämme werden aufgelistet.
but the difference is that Dan, who was part of the original 12, is
Aber
missing out.
Unterschied ist, dass Dan, der ein Teil von der Original 12, der fehlt hier.
Yes, and Manasseh was basically replacing Dan in this illustration here.
Und in diesen Darstellungen Manasse ersetzte Dan.
So all the original ones are in there, but Joseph and Levi got replaced in the Old Testament,
Also im Alten Bund, Levi und Josef würden ersetzt.
but now in the 144,000, all of the original ones are again in there, but now Dan is replaced by Manasseh.
Aber unter den 144.000, alle Originale sind wieder da, Levi und Josef auch, aber nur Dan würde ersetzt durch Manasse.
And Joseph and Levi are put back in.
Josef und Levi sind wieder da, ein Teil.
And Ephraim, who was not actually part of the original ones, is not in there also.
Und Ephraim, der auch kein Originalteil der 12 Stämme ist, auch nicht mehr da.
Okay, so and I saw that Brother Haskell, one of our pioneers, he wrote about this.
Und Stephen Haskell, einer von den Pionieren, der hat darüber geschrieben.
So I will read through it as soon as I find the time to do
Und
so.
wenn ich die Zeit dazu finde, werde ich da durchlesen.
Okay. Anyways, today what I want to look at is okay. Actually, I want to deal with one point because yesterday there was this. Okay. Okay, Sister Lucia just sent a Bible verse here about the border of the breastplate.
Also Sister Lucia in dem Livestream hat gerade ein Zitat über die Umrandung in der Brustplatte gesandt.
Okay, let's read this quickly. Let's go to Exodus 28, verse 26.
Lasst uns das schnell lesen. Wir gehen zum 2. Buch Mose 28, 26.
Just the verse that says where the rings are going to be on the border.
Okay, let's read verse 26. It says, "And thou shalt make 2 rings of gold, and thou shalt put them upon the 2 ends of the breastplate in the border thereof, which is in the side of the ephod inward." Okay, so here at least you have the border mentioned of the breastplate.
So hier zumindest ist der Umrandung des Brustplattes erwähnt.
It still doesn't mention that there's any stones on them.
Es erwähnt aber immer noch nicht, dass der Steine sind. Also
Okay. Alright. So that's something really deep apparently. So I don't really know how to answer this at the moment. And but I also wanna just mention one point that Brother Calvin submitted yesterday.
Also das ist sehr tief. Aber ich will nur eines erwähnen, was Bruder Calvin gestern gesagt hat.
Because he just submitted a thought, maybe why you have these different faces here.
Denn er hat einen Gedanke erwähnt, warum wir vielleicht diese verschiedenen Gesichter hier mit den lebendigen Wesen haben.
Yes, and they're actually the same face.
Dass sie im Grunde dasselbe sind.
So let's go to Revelation 21.
Also in Offenbarung 21.
Well, could you finish this point? Just gonna find
Okay. Let me just finish this one. I can mention this.
Offenbarung 21
And verse 13.
und Vers 13.
And it speaks about the holy city in this chapter.
So, dieses Kapitel spricht über den heiligen Stadt.
It says, or let's read 12 and 13.
Also Verse 12 und 13.
It says, and had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. So, you can see it had 12 gates, the city,
So, es hat 12 Tore, diesen Stadt.
and the names of the 12 tribes are on this.
Und die Namen der 12 Stämme sind auf die jeweiligen Toren.
And each gate also had an angel.
Und jedes Tor hat auch einen Engel.
Okay, so now let's go to 1 Kings chapter 7.
So, lasst uns zu 1. Könige Kapitel 7.
And we could see that the gates, there were 3 gates per direction, right?
Und die Tore, wir konnten sehen, in die jeweiligen 4 Himmelsrichtungen gab es 3 Tore.
So the thought was that when we read now 1 Kings chapter 7 verse 25,
So, wenn wir lesen 1. Könige 7, Vers 25,
and this speaks about the sanctuary, the temple that God built by Solomon.
da spricht über den Tempel, die von Salomo gebaut worden ist.
And it says here, it stood upon 12 oxen, 3 looking toward the north, 3 looking toward the west, and 3 looking toward the south, and 3 looking toward the east. And the sea was set above upon them, and all their hinder parts were inward. So this is the sea of the sanctuary, right?
So, das ist das See in das Heiligtum.
And, yes. Which is what was the sea in the sanctuary?
So, was war das See im Heiligtum? Lever.
So?
Der Lever.
Yes, was a bronze laver,
Das
right?
war der bronzene, also Waschbecken.
Okay, so and it was placed upon 12 oxen,
Und es war auf 12 Stieren gesetzt.
and how were they orientated?
Und wie waren sie aufgestellt?
Yes, 3 in each direction.
So
Right?
3 in die jeweiligen Himmelsrichtungen.
And here we could also see that you had 3 gates at each direction,
Und hier konnten wir auch sehen, es gab 3 Tore in die jeweiligen Himmelsrichtungen.
and each gate had an angel.
Und jedes Tor hatte einen Engel.
So these angels are then these cherubims in a sense.
So diese Engel sind diesen Cherubim.
So the thought was basically that you could link then these 3 gates with the angel at each gate with these 3 oxen at each direction.
So der Gedanke war, diese 3 Engeln in die jeden, also der Engel an jeder Tor ist in Verbindung mit ein Ochs oder ein Stier ist an jedem Tor.
So basically you have the angel and the ox interchangeably.
So der
that's what's-
Engel und der Ochs sind ein und dasselbe Symbol.
Okay, so that was at least this thought and might be a valid one.
So das war zumindest der Gedanke und das mag vielleicht sogar eine gültige Gedanke sein.
And you can see basically if this is the case, then basically this oxen, they had the sea over them, right?
So, und wenn das der Fall ist, man kann sehen, dass diese Stiere hier, ist, dass das glasene Meer im Himmel ist über sie. Also den See ist über sie.
The sea. Yeah. So, and let's just look at this, and I'm open for correction, but that's just a thought that I had today.
So, lasst uns das anschauen. Das ist nur eine Gedanke, die ich habe.
Let's go to Revelation chapter 4.
Lasst uns zur Offenbarung 4 gehen.
Okay, and let's read verse. That's the throne room, right? What he sees now.
So Kapitel 4, das ist der Thronsaal, was hier sieht.
So let's read verse 1 to 3.
Die Verse 1 bis 3.
It says, "After this I looked, and behold, a door was opened in heaven, and the first voice which I heard was as it were of a trumpet, talking with me, which said, Come up hither, and I will show thee things which must be hereafter. And immediately I was in the Spirit, and behold, a throne was set in heaven, and one sat on the throne. And he that sat was to look upon like a jasper and sardine stone, and there was a rainbow round about the throne, in sight like unto an emerald." So he sees now the throne here, right?
So sieht den Thron hier.
And he sees now God, the Father, sitting on this throne.
Und sieht Gott, der Vater, auf diesem Thron
Now
sitzen.
let's go to verse 6.
Jetzt Vers 6.
"And before the throne there was a sea of glass." So what was before the throne?
Was war vor dem Thron?
Yes, a sea, right?
Also ein Meer.
So what were the oxen carrying?
So was haben die Stiere getragen?
The sea, right?
Das Meer.
So, and they were carrying this sea over their head, right?
Und die haben dieses Meer über ihren Köpfen getragen.
Okay. So it says, "And before the throne there was a sea of glass like unto crystal." Okay, so you have a sea of glass
Also ein Meer, ein glasener Meer,
like unto crystal.
wie Kristall.
Mhm.
Wie Kristall.
Okay. And with this is connected the throne of God, right?
Und damit ist in Verbindung mit der Thron Gottes.
And let's just read the rest of the verse. "And in the midst of the throne and round about the throne were 4 beasts full of eyes before and behind." So here you have now these 4 cherubim.
So Vers 6. Hier haben wir diese 4 Cherubim.
Okay. So now let's go to Ezekiel chapter 1.
Jetzt gehen wir zum Hesekiel Kapitel 1.
Before we go there, let us just remind ourselves in verse 3,
Also in Vers 3.
the one that sat upon the throne, how was he to look like?
Also derjenige, der auf dem Thron saß, also noch in Offenbarung 4, Vers 3,
Yes, like a jasper and silence.
der war wie ein Jasper und eine Saphir.
So
And it says there was a rainbow around the throne like an emerald.
yes.
Und ein Regenbogen wie ein Emerald.
And emerald is green, so there's a rainbow like green.
Okay.
I always wonder what that means.
So we also have the emeralds.
Auch der Emerald.
That's the rainbow,
Das ist das Regenbogen.
and this is the Father sitting on the throne.
Und das ist der Vater, der auf dem Thron sitzt.
Okay. Now let's go to
It's
Ezekiel 1.
interesting though, in Ezekiel 28, when it's describing Satan when he was in Eden, that it's Satan. First of all, he only has like 9 stones and gold, but it's all of these ones as part of it. What he is as well.
Yes.
I don't know, no idea what that would mean. But
Yes, Satan has 9 of those stones
yeah.
when he was created. Yes.
Also Satan, als er kreiert war, hat 9 von diesen Steinen in Hesekiel 28 und die sind auch diejenigen hier.
Okay. So now let's go to Ezekiel chapter 1.
So jetzt zu Hesekiel Kapitel 1.
Let's read verse 22.
Und Vers 22.
It says, "And the likeness of the firmament upon the heads of the living creature." So where was the firmament?
Wo war diese Wolbo?
Firmament.
Firmament.
was on the heads, right?
Es war auf deren Köpfen.
Where was the sea of with respect to these oxen?
Und wo war das Meer in Bezug auf diesen Stier?
Yes, above their heads.
Über den Köpfen.
So, and the likeness of the firmament upon the heads of the living creature was as the color of the terrible crystal. So, what was the sea of glass likened unto in Revelation 4?
So in Offenbarung 4, womit war das glasene Meer verglichen? Wie
Like
Kristall.
unto crystal, right? So, I would suggest that this firmament is the sea of glass, okay?
Ich würde vorschlagen, hier in Vers 22, diese Firmament, das ist dieses glasene Meer.
Stretched forth over their heads above. And under the firmament there were their wings straight, the one toward the other, everyone had two, which covered on this side, and everyone had two, which covered on that side their bodies. And then jump down to verse 26.
Bis Vers 26.
And above the firmament that was over their heads was the likeness of a throne. So this firmament is now connected with a throne, right?
So dieses Firmament ist jetzt in Verbindung mit der Thron.
So also in Revelation 4 we saw the sea of glass, it was before the throne.
Und auch
Right?
in Offenbarung 4 haben wir gesehen, diese glasene Meer war vor dem Thron.
And on the throne somebody sat like a sardine stone. Right?
Und auf dem Thron jemand ist gesessen, der wie ein Sardinenstein, Sardinenstein.
I wonder if there are the 12 foundations, you know, that support, because the throne's on this firmament and they're underneath supporting it, you know, and the city has 12 foundations.
And the city's gold like, what does it say? As clear as crystal or something. Does it say that? The gold is so pure it's like crystal.
What's your point?
It would be the same as the sea, in that sense.
Okay, we can look it up shortly. But let us just finish this point here in verse 26.
Also Vers 26.
And above the firmament that was over their heads was the likeness of a throne, as the appearance of a sapphire stone. And upon the likeness of the throne was the likeness of, as the appearance of a man above upon it. Okay, so the throne, what stone is the throne?
So der Thron, welcher Stein ist das Thron?
What does it say?
Sapphire.
Sapphire. Okay.
Saphir.
So the father on the throne is a jasper and a sardine,
So der Vater auf dem Thron ist diese Jasper und Sardin,
but the throne itself is a sapphire.
aber der Thron selbst ist Saphir.
And who knows the color of a sapphire?
Quite see-through, it's like crystal.
Und wer kennt der Farbe von einer Saphir?
It's like a blue,
It's
actually.
blue.
Yeah,
Es
Yes.
ist ein Blau. But if you look at this, Jasper is the same as Sardis, and Sardius, no, it wasn't that one, Sapphire, Sardonyx. That's a sardine and a jasper, and sapphire is sardonyx.
Why is
Mm.
Don't know if it's the same.
No. It's not the same. I mean, we just showed that these stones are the stones inside the border, and these are the stones off the border. So they're not the same. So basically, so the sapphire stone is the throne, which is blue.
Also der Sapphire ist der Thron, dessen blau ist.
And what does the color of blue represent?
Und was stellt die Farbe blau?
the law?
Yeah, it represents the law,
Das
right?
Gesetz.
Let's just go quickly to Exodus 24.
Lasst uns im 2. Buch Mose 24 gehen.
Let us then read verse 8 down to 10.
Und wir lesen die Verse 8 bis 10.
And this is where basically they made the covenant and Moses sprinkled upon them.
Und hier haben sie das Bündnis gemacht und Moses hat sie besprengt.
Okay. Nick, you want to read those verses first, please?
8 bis
10.
And Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people and said, Behold the people of the covenant which the Lord had made with you concerning all these words. Then went up Moses and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel. And they saw the God of Israel, and there was under his feet, as it were, a path paved of work of a sapphire stone, and as it were the body of heaven in his clearness.
Yes. Okay, so they saw now God,
Also sie haben Gott gesehen
and under his feet, what kind of stone was there?
und unter seinen Füßen, was für eine Steine war da.
So it's the sapphire stone.
Sapphire.
Okay, and we saw that the throne was looking like a sapphire stone, right?
Und wir haben gesehen, dass der Thron wie eine Saphire aussah.
So, and it's a blue stone.
Und das ist eine blaue Stein.
And let's go now to Numbers.
Wait, just a second, just before you go, you missed that point. It says the work of sapphire stone, and as it were the body of heaven
Yes,
in his clearness.
yes, crystal.
That's the same, right? It's like see-through firmament, if you want to call it that.
Also der Körper des Himmels in seiner Klarheit, in dem Sinne, also wie vielleicht Kristall, also durchsichtig. Das ist ein Firmament.
So what's the point?
Well, I mean, you're focusing on the sapphire. I just want you to see that it's marked also this sea of glass there, if you want to look at the same thing.
Also natürlich, wir schauen hier der Saphire an, aber dann den Vers, das sieht so aus, als wäre das glasene Meer da auch.
Yes, it must be the same throne room as in Revelation.
Also derselbe Thronsaal wie in der Offenbarung.
Okay, so let's go now to Numbers 15.
So 4. Buch Mose 15.
Show that the color blue is related to the law or connected with the law.
Um zu sehen, dass der Farbe Blau in Verbindung ist mit das Gesetz.
And let's read verse 38 to 39.
Die Verse 38 und 39.
Numbers 15, verse 38 to 39.
4. Buch Mose 15, Verse 38 und 39.
Okay. Or actually, you can read down to verse 40.
38 bis 40.
Okay, Brahma, you want to read those first, please?
It says, "Speak unto the children of Israel, and bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments throughout their generation, and that they put upon the fringe of the border a ribbon of blue. And it shall be unto you for a fringe, that ye may look upon it, and remember all the commandments of the Lord, and do them, that ye seek not after your own heart and your own eyes, after which ye used to go a-whoring, that they may remember and do all my commandments, and be holy unto your God." I've got a point to make.
Okay, you can make it just after we look. So this fringe of the borders was a ribbon of blue.
So dieser Rand der Umrandung war ein blaues Band.
And when you look upon it, what should you remember?
Und wenn du darauf schaust, woran sollst du denken?
The law.
Yes.
Das Gesetz, seine Gebote.
So here you can see this blue is therefore connected with the law.
So hier können wir sehen, dass diese Farbe blau ist in Verbindung mit das Gesetz.
In this.
That's what the Sabbath law, you know.
Sorry?
The blue law is the Sabbath law. They call it the blue law.
Blue
I
laws.
mean,
Yes,
it's
it's
not
just-
really the
yes.
connection, but just from that.
But we can see, right, also the sapphire stone was the stone for the throne.
So, wir konnten sehen, dass der Saphire war auch der Stein in Verbindung mit der Thron.
So therefore his throne is built upon his law, right?
So, sein Thron ist auf sein Gesetz gebaut.
Okay, so that just illustrates that blue is this color of his law.
So, da steht nur, dass dieses Blau die Farbe von sein Gesetz ist.
Okay.
Okay, border, right?
Also der Umrandung.
They were to put a border on their dress in blue, right?
Also die sollten einen Band, also einen Rand um ihrem Gewand tun, der blau sein soll.
It's no accident that they're using the word border,
So, es ist kein Zufall, dass sie das Wort Umrandung benutzen,
because the law was a wall.
weil das Gesetz war eine Mauer.
Okay, now just go to you go to Revelation 21, you see the point that Scott is making in verse 18 and then verse 21.
So geht zur Offenbarung 21 und Vers 18 und dann 21. Offenbarung 21, Vers 18 und dann Vers 21.
It says, and the building of the wall of it was of jasper, and the city was pure gold like unto clear glass. Right? And the 12 gates were 12 pearls, every several gate was of 1 pearl, and the street of the city was pure gold, as it were transparent glass. Right? So the gold, the walls are this transparent glass, and when you
Also das Gold, die Mauern sind dieses durchsichtiges Glas oder Kristall.
so same when you're reading this thing about when you see Christ in was it Exodus.
Also wenn wir das gelesen haben, wo wir Christus gesehen haben in 2.
But
Buch Mose,
just a question, was the wall this transparent glass or was it says the city was
speaking about 12 gates.
Yes.
it says the building of the wall of it was of jasper and the city was pure gold like unto clear glass.
The street of the city.
And the 12 gates were 12 pearls, every several gate was of 1 pearl, and the street of the city was pure gold as it were transparent glass. So the street might be this sea of glass.
Well, look, if you just go for verse 17, right, it's speaking about the wall.
Vers
Right?
17 spricht es über den Mauer.
It says, and he measured the wall thereof 144 cubits, according to the measure of a man, that is of an angel. And the building of the wall of it was jasper, colon, and the city was pure gold like unto clear glass. So he's just measuring the whole wall. It's this long and this wide, and then he just mentions it. The city was clear glass. But
Misst den Mauer und dann mit einem Kolon, dann erwähnt dass das gesamte Stadt war aus dieses durchsichtiges Glas.
Basically, these borders here, that's the wall, right?
Diese Umrandung hier, das ist die Mauer,
So,
which is a law.
which is the law.
was das Gesetz ist.
And the point is that the reason why I'm saying that is because in the city on the wall, which is on the border,
In der Stadt, auf der
Was
Mauer,
those
was der
stones?
Umrandung ist, waren diese Steine.
Yes?
right, so that's why I'm saying that I don't know what the connection is.
We would be in the throne of God.
Because when you, well, let's say, when in Exodus 24,
Also im 2. Buch Mose 24,
you will read Exodus 24, right? You read this
Verse 10.
verse 10. So, and they saw the God of Israel, there was under his feet, as it were, paved work of sapphire stone, which is the law, right?
so dieses Saphirstein, was das Gesetz ist,
And under him, as it were, the body of heaven in his clearness.
und so wie der Körper des Himmels in seine Klarheit.
So,
Also Betonung auf
I'm
und.
saying that the wall of the city had 12 foundations.
Also der Mauer der Stadt ist hat 12 Fundamenten.
Okay, when you look at it, these 12 oxen were holding up the firmament, which was this crystal.
Und die 12 Stiere, die haben diese Firmament aufgehalten, was diese Kristall war.
Okay, so linked to the crystal is the law, which is the wall.
Und in Verbindung mit der Kristall ist das Gesetz, was der Wand ist.
Okay, and the law was put into the border.
Und das Gesetz würde in den Umrandung eingewebt.
So I'm just linking all these things together. That's
Also
all.
ich bringe all diese Sachen nur zusammen. Das ist alles, was ich hier und
Maybe
jetzt
it's
tue.
not entirely correct, but you can see the connections. Right?
Also vielleicht ist es nicht 100% korrekt, aber wir können auf jeden Fall die Verbindungen logischerweise da sehen.
My only question, I mean, it's in verse 10, right?
Meine Frage wäre dann in Vers 10,
When it says, and under his feet, as it were, a paved work of sapphire stone, and as it were, the body of heaven in its clearness. So, the heaven, right, is blue.
also der Himmel ist blau.
So, that's how I would read it at the moment, in the sense that just compares the sapphire stone with the blue heaven or the blue sky.
Is that not the firmament?
Also so wie ich das verstehe, also
Okay, but the firmament was like crystal.
der Firmament war wie Kristall.
Yes. Yes.
That's what I'm saying. And God called the firmament heaven, right?
Mm.
Gott nannte das Firmament
Yes.
Himmel.
Yes. Okay, that would be the link. Alright. Yes. Okay, I can agree with that.
Okay, so that's when you go to Ezekiel 1, and there was a voice from the firmament that was over their heads.
So in Hesekiel
This
1,
blue, that's why the sky is blue.
in Hesekiel 1, es gab eine Stimme von dem Firmament, die über ihren Köpfen war, und das ist das Himmel, und deswegen ist der Himmel blau.
But actually the sky is, without the clouds, is clear as crystal, right?
Aber ohne den Wolken da, der Himmel an sich ist so klar wie Kristall, man kann ganz durchschauen.
So crystal is always
See-through.
see-through. Cannot have any color.
Yes.
Kristall ist immer durchsichtig, man kann ja keine Farbe da drin haben.
But that's what I'm saying.
That's my question.
The thing is
there
with-
no crystal that can be in a sense blue but still see-through?
No, in crystal should pure crystal, you should be able to see every color of the rainbow in it.
No, it depends. That's only when light is
Yeah,
refracted.
when light's reflected from
But
it,
to see, when you look through crystal, it's just
it's clear.
it's
Yes.
clear.
There's nothing hindering it.
Yes, okay.
But remember, and the thing it says that the blue is sitting on top of it. It's got a blue pavement, and this clear crystal. So that's maybe why when you're looking through the clear, you see the blue. Otherwise, where does the blue come
So
from?
good. Ask myself that. Hier in der Erzählung in der Bibel, du hast so der Kristall und darauf ist das Blau. Und wenn man schaut durch den Himmel zum Beispiel, man kann ganz hindurchschauen, aber es ist blau. Und die Frage ist, wo kommt das Blau her?
Yes. So, anyways, so we can just a side note. So whenever you look in the heaven, in the sky, right, you see the blue.
It's the law.
God wants to remind you of the law. Okay.
Also auf eine Seitennote, whenever wir in den Himmel hineinschauen und es blau ist, der Herr möchte uns an seinem Gesetz erinnern.
Okay. So, anyways, but at least can you follow my thoughts? Why I would think, that the sea is this firmament above the heads of the cherubim.
Also konntet ihr jedenfalls meine Gedanken folgen, dass diese Firmament ist dieses See über den Cherubim,
Because
über den Köpfen.
above the heads of the oxen, they had the sea.
Dann über
Like
den
unto a
Köpfen von
crystal.
den Stieren gab es das See wie Kristall.
And above the heads of the cherubim, they had this firmament like unto a crystal.
Über den Köpfen von den Cherubim, man hat diesen what do you say,
Firmament.
Firmament wie Kristall.
What color is the sea, Lord?
It's blue.
So there's
So,
it's a second, another witness.
welche Farbe ist das Meer? Das ist blau.
Okay, so and therefore this would add to the thought that Brother Calvin shared yesterday that the ox and the cherubim are synonymous.
Und
Okay.
das wäre hinzufügen zu der Gedanke von Bruder Calvin gestern, dass der Stier und der Cherubim sind verwechselbar, also ein und dasselbe Symbol.
Because the oxen were the ones that carrying the sea and the cherubims were the ones that carrying the firmament.
Weil die Stieren sind diejenigen, die das See getragen haben über ihren Köpfen und den Cherubimen das Firmament über ihren Köpfen.
Yes?
Amen?
Okay. So,
And,
And-
sorry, the ox was a symbol, when you look at Revelation 6, and you go them in order, the ox is a symbol of the sacrifice, right? So,
Yes.
Also in Offenbarung 6, der Stier ist ein Symbol für die Opfergabe.
and those cherubim represent people that have become this perfect sacrifice and have been made priests and kings unto Lord.
Und diesen Cherubim stellen Menschen dar, die diese perfekte Opfergabe geworden sind und sind jetzt Priestern und Könige des Herrn.
yes. Right. Okay. So basically describes some characteristics, right, of those overcomers.
So, es beschreibt die Charaktermerkmale von diesen Überwindern hier.
Okay. So, and unfortunately, I didn't really have the time today to really dig into all these details. So I'll try to do this by tomorrow. But
Leider hatte ich nicht die Zeit, in all diesen Dinge in Detail einzugehen. Vielleicht schaffe ich mehr bis morgen.
But I want to just, for the remaining time,
Aber für die restliche Zeit, die wir jetzt haben,
I just want to show you these 12 gates.
ich möchte diese 12 Tore zeigen.
Because on the 12 gates were the names of the 12 tribes, right?
Denn auf diese 12 Tore waren die Namen von den 12 Stämmen.
And you had 3 gates at each direction.
Und es gab 3 Toren in die jeweiligen Himmelsrichtungen.
And yesterday
Und gestern,
we already looked at. Let me just forward this again.
das kommt nochmal zu uns in den
This
Livestream.
picture I showed you how the tribes were located around the sanctuary.
Wie diese Stämme den Stiftshütte aufgestellt worden sind.
So when you look at this picture here,
So, wenn wir diesen Bild hier wieder anschauen,
okay, so here you can see that there were 3 tribes at each direction around the sanctuary.
hier können wir sehen, dass in jeder Himmelsrichtung gab es 3 Stämme das Heiligtum herum.
Okay. So, but now let's go to Ezekiel 48.
Aber lasst uns jetzt zu Hesekiel 48 gehen.
Ezekiel 48.
Hesekiel 48.
And let's read verse 31 to 35.
Und die Verse 31 bis 35.
Because it's these last chapters of Ezekiel, they are referring to the building of this temple, right?
Diese letzte Versen und dieses letzte Kapitel in Hesekiel, die sind in Bezug auf das Aufbau des Tempels.
Okay. And that says, and the gates of the city shall be after the names of the tribes of Israel. So it's the same as in Revelation 21.
So dasselbe wie in Offenbarung 21.
3 gates northward, 1 gate of Reuben, 1 gate of Judah, 1 gate of Levi. So, north, you had, just name them again for me, please.
So Norden, dann hat man Reuben, Judah und Levi. Also Reuben, Judah und Levi.
Judah, Levi. Okay. Then just continue the next
Und
verse.
zur Ostenseite ein Tor war für Josef,
Joseph.
Benjamin und Dan. Vers 33, also Südseite, es war Simeon, Issachar und Zebulun. Vers 34, zu der Westen hin, es war Gad, Ascher und Naphtali.
Okay. So that's basically the gates of the city.
So,
Okay.
das sind die Toren der Stadt.
So each side 3 gates with the names of the tribes of Israel. Right?
Also jeder Seite 3 Tore mit den Namen der Stämme Israels drauf.
Yes. So, but when you also go with the illustration that I just sent you about the picture, okay,
Aber wenn du nach dem Bild gehst, die ich gesandt habe,
there you see a different order of the tribes.
da ist eine andere Aufstellung von den Stämmen.
So, again, something that we have to grapple with. Okay.
So, wieder irgendetwas, womit wir in der Bibel ringen müssen.
Okay, but the only difference is here it's the sanctuary in the middle, and then the tribes around. Here it was in Ezekiel 48 it was the city, and then it describes it, the gates of the city were these things. So
So
that's
hier,
probably the right thing, and this teaches maybe something else.
so hier in dieser Abbildung ist es um das Heiligtum herum und hier wie in Hesekiel 48 diese Aufstellung ist um den Stadt herum. Also der eine lehrt uns wahrscheinlich was anderes.
But also the sanctuary was in the city, so I don't know. But I just want to give you all these things, okay, that you already see them for yourself.
Aber das Heiligtum war in der Stadt. Also ich weiß nicht, was das heißt. Ich möchte nur all diese Dinge geben, damit ihr das für euch selbst seht.
And I'm positive that God will give the explanation for these things.
Bin mir sicher, dass der Herr die Erklärung gibt dafür.
But it's also good that we not can always provide all the answers, because this should also spur you to go and study yourself and contribute. Okay.
Aber es ist auch gut, dass wir nicht immer von hier vorne alle Antworten geben, denn das soll uns allen anregen, dass wir diese Dinge für uns selbst studieren und mit der einen oder der anderen Antwort dazu bringen.
Okay, and then we can build the city together.
Und
Okay,
dann können wir den Stadt gemeinsam bauen.
so and this is how we should work as a team, and that we should all feel our responsibility to
So
build up
sollen wir,
Jerusalem.
so sollen wir zusammenwirken, dass wir Jerusalem zusammenbauen, dass wir alle den
In the Verantwortung.
der Verantwortung tragen.
Okay.
Sorry.
Amen.
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 Okay, then let us close with these thoughts for this evening, and God's grace, we will find more conclusions by tomorrow.
So für heute lasst uns mit diesen Gedanken schließen und mit Gottes Gnade werden wir